This is day 1670, but we're really burning the midnight oil. So many things are happening, and as you know, we're getting so much feedback because this is the last chance, right? This is the last chance. We've been saying it for a while now that those that, because there's so many that knows what went on with Richard, where his remains are, and um, come out and try to get a plea deal. It's this is your last chance because of what's going on in our communications and the look, you don't have to worry about us. Your worry is not about us. Of course, we're going to continue. We're not going to stop. We're going to expose. But the real, you know, President Trump was targeted in El Paso. President Trump is targeted by the cartel operatives, agents, call them what you want, inside of the system, the judicial and law enforcement system there in El Paso. He was targeted and he was attacked. And this group that did this had to, what they were trying to preserve was their $1 billion trafficking network. And President Trump was, because of his wanting to close the border, because he wanted to make America great again, because he wanted to have law enforcement do their job, because he did not, well, he wanted that closed border that would absolutely shut down the trafficking network. And shutting down that trafficking network would hurt the bottom line, would hurt it would get rid of the cartel, right? It would dry up the cartel because they depend on their tax-free criminal trafficking, right? They don't pay taxes on their criminal trafficking profits. That kill so many, that harm so many, that mar so many. Think about the hundreds of thousands of children, and of course, what happened to our son, what happened to, it's connected to even Vanessa Guillen. It's connected to the death of Glennon Oakley Jr. They are really creating a lot of harm, um, and there's others too uh, that we absolutely are aware of. And this is the last chance. It's very, very interesting that, people will wait until the very, very end because they want to protect themselves, right? Um, which is not the right way to go. You absolutely have to do the right thing all the time, no matter what. Yeah, you have to do the right thing. And allowing a whistleblower soldier to be murdered, allow a president to be targeted. Really, this is the center of it. For us, the center is Richard, of course, right? Richard is, we want to get to the bottom of this. And get justice for our son, right? I mean, our son was taken away from us. He should be married and have at least maybe one child now, maybe two, maybe two. Um, and such a beautiful young man, and they took him from us. Um, but the center of their minds was not Richard. Um, of course, Richard played a big part because he was the only one that we know of that was willing to put his life on the line for these children, for those that were suffering from the drug trafficking and the sex trafficking and the weapons trafficking. He put his life on the line. He was the only one willing to put his life on the line. So, of course, they were shocked by his amazing character and his amazing stand, and he is absolutely a hero. Um, absolutely. So we're so proud of him. And of course, they had to uh, murder him, right? They had to murder him. He got in the way. But their main target, their absolutely main target, and thank you, Martha, for coming on. Thank you, Anicia. I see your prayers and your love. Their main target was President Trump. There's no doubt. All the evidence points to them trying to protect their criminal trafficking network, billions of dollars of worth it that depended on an open border. And it wasn't, they didn't care about uh, those that were coming over the border. They were exploiting them, right? They were absolutely exploiting them and growing their criminal trafficking network to hurt even more people, to exploit even more people, and to thwart a justice in so many different cities all over. And you saw what happened today um, in Arizona. The Sinaloa cartel is there in Arizona. Okay, the Sinaloa cartel that is now designated as a T group, a terrible group. I'm not supposed to really say it because I might get even more shadow banned than what I am. So please share. Please share. But you know what kind of designation they have gotten, a terrible group. And this makes what they're doing a major federal crime. And what was caught now, the governor and her husband in Arizona was, doing the bribes and everything through deeds, through property deeds. And that really explains a lot of evidence that we have and the LLCs that we know that this criminal group is part of, um, and who donates to who and all of that through these deeds. They really commit all kinds of crimes. And I'm going to put something up. I've been working on understanding what was happening in Arizona because it's with the Sinaloa cartel and who's there in El Paso. Absolutely. You have the Juarez cartel, you have the Fort Bliss cartel, you have the Sinaloa cartel, and the Sinaloa cartel is connected to Richard's case with the Juarez cartel member El Mayo. Um, and of course, El Chapo's son was at the Santa Teresa jetport, international jetport there, and Ray Velarde, the attorney. So absolutely, the Sinaloa cartel is uh, uh, the leadership in El Paso have been meeting with the cartel leaders, which is illegal. It's so illegal, but they've been doing it. We've been getting the feedback, and of course, the AG's office that absolutely tampered with our missing persons report that we put in there, and more and more evidence that we have that um, connects Richard's case with Sinaloa cartel, who are now designated the terrible, the terrible group. And President Trump, of course, was their target. They were absolutely targeting him because he threatened their trafficking network, their billions of dollars of trafficking network. And it really is concerning. Um, to see the protection of that. And it really shows how many people were part of that economy, okay, part of that criminal economy. And but the problem is, that before they became the terrible organization, you could do some business with that economy, that billion-dollar economy, and not be held accountable. But now, because they're designated a terrible organization, you cannot do business with them. You cannot participate with that economy any longer. And so that's why I'm saying this is the last chance. You need to really clean up your whatever, however you're making your money and everything, and do things legally, because and it's not me warning. I'm just trying to be nice. It is President Trump was attacked. They even tried to assassinate him. This is all connected, y'all. This is all connected. And even I told you, the when we looked at the two that tried to assassinate, the group behind that, we found that they were connected to Richard's case, because it's connected to the main target, and that is President Trump. That is the main case. You can say, oh, the Walmart case is smaller than Richard's case. The Walmart case was used to divert to it was just one weaponization against President Trump, but they, that for this false narrative and everything, and they did a rotten job, because now, what else is going to be exposed from it? Because we have this exposure of the DA's office, we have the exposure of the federal courthouse, we have the exposure of the state courthouse, we have the exposure of the ISDs, right? We have the exposure of the El Paso Police Department, and the medical examiner. We've got this all exposed now in this um, uh, t- teamwork effort to keep the criminal trafficking network going, um, and to do that, to do whatever you could against President Trump. And so, you know, uh, so what happened in Arizona, uh, keep an eye on El Paso, because these are the same business plan. This is the same criminal business plan. And I'm sure if they looked at deeds in Arizona, they're going to be looking at deeds in Texas, and that means deeds. Texas is so big, so they're really going to be looking at deeds in El Paso, and how they're connected to the narco politicians and those that are compromised, that are embedded in the system, and how they're compromised, because we know that these judges are compromised. Not all of the judges, but that some judges are compromised, and it's bad. It's very bad, and in order to get that high, it has to compromise also the politicians, the political representation, and we know that Veronica Escobar is absolutely up to no good, right? We know that she's absolutely up to no good, and this coating of Jaime Esparza in the paper is just so, like, in the media is just so, like, so revealing, right? They reveal themselves, because Jaime Esparza was absolutely up to no good with exploitation of the whole Walmart mass shooting, um, in order to protect the criminal network that he absolutely knows. Because if we know, we see it clearly now, we've made the connections, and we are documenting the connections, because we've identified the crime, and we're documenting them, and we're turning them in as fast as we can, because you can't hold on to them. It's too dangerous. These are dangerous people. So you have to file them. You have to move the info forward, and you have to do these live streams, and you have to tell people what you know, because if you hold on to them, it's very, very dangerous. And so, uh, this the whole judicial system, the whole um, CIA even has absolutely changed. And it was we had written a letter to the CIA, and we believe it was that letter to the CIA that really moved things to uh, admit and confess that Richard was absolutely deceased, and then move that, you know, because we know that they have his remains, right? Um, and move it forward to the declaration that he was murdered in the line of duty. So, the CIA being now in really new hands, and the FBI having a new director, that is, we're hearing that he's also, he's going to have two hats, the FBI director and the ATF, or that they'll put the ATF underneath the FBI. That will be that. I think that's a really smart move, because the FBI has to investigate um, alcohol, tobacco, alcohol, and firearms. The drugs. That's just all. There's such a bureaucracy right now, and what's happening is that it's being organized. It's being very organized, and trimmed for efficiency, right? Instead of a very bloated, bulky, oh, I thought you were doing it. Oh, I thought you were doing it. Oh, no, I thought that was your responsibility. Oh, I know, I thought that was your responsibility. And then nothing gets done, right? It's trimmed down, and you have leaders that are absolutely responsible and have that oversight. You see this trimming and making things more efficient. Um, and I think putting the ATF, it hasn't happened yet, as far as I know. I'm just getting information that the ATF will be put under the director of the FBI, which is Kash Patel. And so that will, and uh, it involves so many different agencies to get justice, right? It involves so many different agencies, and it being a little bit trimmed down, I think will make things more efficient and make it go quicker because, sorry, it's 1 o'clock here. I had to take a yawn. But there's no time to sleep. We have to stay awake and look at what other things are going on, because this has to do with the transportation, right? And Buttigieg is out. But this is all about transferring all of the trafficking stuff, right? You have to have the the transportation. You have to also have the warehouses, right? And you have to have the media to cover for you. And so there's so many different letters that have to go out all the time to notify them what we know at the border. Because really, if you want really true news, you come here. And we are uh, in a huge story in the background right now. It's a huge story, but we'll reveal it once we get some confirmation. And it's huge. It just blows everything out. This whole Montoya thing with the Secretary of State of Texas, the tampering of evidence, and then of course Danae Katzen. And let's talk about Danae Katzen Gonzalez Embreeze. We arrived in Texas about the 25th of September 2020. We had to do a lot of things in the search, and it took us a while because we were thrown out. Remember, the military threw us out, and we didn't know any information. We didn't know what was going on, and so we had to communicate with many, many people and organize ourselves. And then they brought us back in, and and then we could work with El Paso and uh, start being on the streets, right? You have to get permission to do all that. We went through all the channels and learned how to do it. We had to watch some videos and buy a megaphone and get signs and like, gather people together. So we arrived in El Paso on the 25th of September. On the 26th of September, Danae Katzen, I believe it was Danae Katzen, really quickly, I'm looking at I can't see it from here, my big wall calendar with everything on it from 2020. We're just surrounded in here with all kinds of information. But she came right away with, a false narrative to mislead us, to take us to her buddies, her family members of KTSM, David Candelera, and of course, Natasia Paloma. And she absolutely knew what she was doing in that building. She knew that building like the back of her hand. And so that was really like, oh, wow. Well, it's hard to see things at the beginning to understand when you're really naive. We're very, very naive. But that was really something that I picked up on that I just thought, wow, she must have been here before, right? Um, and now she is over and over again, and I wanted to look this up, and um, because the information that I'm getting is that it's very unusual to be placed on the 10 most wanted list over and over and over and over again. This is like what, her fourth time, maybe fifth time on this most wanted list, right? The 10 most wanted list or just most wanted list for arrest, that she's, evading arrest. And of course, she was arrested before with her husband, Jonathan Caleb Ambrose. Um, and they're very, very attached to Bliss Avenue, to KTSM. And Bliss Avenue is absolutely attached to Richard's unit, absolutely attached to the cartel, to the Walmart mass shooting because of Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia. And, so Danae Katzen can't be unless she's a decoy. And that's what I'm getting to. No, she absolutely was like a fix-it person, like, let me go and I'll lie, I'll do this. She cannot be trusted, right? And we have other interviews. Remember, PI Phil Waters interviewed her. We have that, audio and transcript of that. We heard what she said, but we also have information that she has said more, and that it has caused a lot of chaos. That she said more. There's talk of a confession, right? That she participated in a confession, but it caused a lot of chaos. And um, uh, so and well, we'll see. We have to confirm because of what we've been told about what happened with the confession and what was confessed to, and who she named and everything like that. But it caused a lot of confusion. And what is very, very clear is that it is very abnormal that they have listed, someone many times on there, right? And we're gonna, I mean, if anyone knows about all of that, please let us know. Please comment on that because she, it's just not normal. Why isn't she arrested? And, why is she 4 or 5 times on the 10 most wanted? I mean, name one person that has been on there 4 or 5 times. I don't think there's any. I think if you make it twice, that's a record, right? But she's just surpassed that, doubled it, tripled it. Um, and, so this is really interesting because it makes us pause. and think about what is going on, that she has really angered somebody very, very much, because we know that the law enforcement are their hands are either their hands are dirty or their hands are tied, right? Or they're controlled, they're puppets, or that they are absolutely not what they are supposed to be, right? We know that they are not. The mag court is not what it's supposed to be. We know the medical examiner is not what he's supposed to be. We know in the El Paso Police Department, they're not what they're supposed to be. We know in the federal courthouse, they're not what they're supposed to be. We know at the DA's office, they're not what they're supposed to be. We know that Veronica Escobar is not what she's supposed to be, that no one is doing what they are supposed to be doing, that they are supposed to be getting paid to do. They're not. They are not. And that's why I'm all about this refund. Give me the refund, because they to put any kind of money in the hand of the government right now is really being foolish, being full. I don't care, they're going, oh, we want to pay down the debt. Really? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Any, no, no. We'll figure out a different way, but yeah, this whole refund thing, Doge refund, yeah, give it back to the people. Spread that well, give it back to the people that paid it, right? That's my take on it, my opinion. I'm pretty, expert on my own opinion. Who says that? Some podcaster always says that, and I kind of like that. Am I expert on my own opinion? Um, yeah, absolutely. The people have been exploited enough. They should get back their money for what has happened, because nobody is doing what they're supposed to be doing. And why isn't Danae arrested? She should be arrested. Is she just so sly? Is she just slips by them? She can just manipulate herself by them. I don't know. It seems that someone is very, very angry at her, which then corroborates what we're being told about the confession, right? And uh, I really believe that her husband, Jonathan Ambrose, that she was probably trying to protect him. Maybe not. Maybe she's broken from him. I don't know. But they weren't too happy with him either, right? But they're really picking on her, right? They're really picking on her. And we know that her husband was just a huge hacker. I don't know if he was a self proclaimed hacker, but he's a computer whiz. Jonathan Ambrose says computer whiz. Like Michael Maella. He's a self proclaimed award winning hacker. And we know that Dallas Hart is very, very clever with the computers, and likes to do that kind of stuff, right? So, it's very clear, and I'm wondering if Brian Blake Crucius is handy with with the keyboard. I'm just wondering, with all this talk with Doge and his group that like to love on their computer. It just comes to mind with this. And I just want to say, that's coming to it's all being exposed. You can think you're clever, 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 but it's being exposed because President Trump was targeted, and he's not one to forget that, right? He is not one to forget that, and he's got the money, right? And he's got friends with money, so you know he is very serious and making America great again. He absolutely just fired his first course of generals, and we were told that before he took office. We were asked the to name the generals that you think should absolutely be brought back in and court-martialed, who you think are active duty four-star generals, who need to be fired. And so, here he is, and it's really wonderful to see him targeting the JAG, okay? Because the JAG, and I didn't mean to talk about this today, but I think I am. I want to make it really, really clear that a position that we said years ago when we were in the meetings, it wasn't general by, and I don't want to give any excuses to Sean Bernabe. He was just like a wet noodle, right? Just a wet noodle. Um, he's my Oma would call him an nasa washlapper, a nasa washlapper, a wet washcloth. Um, that he was just kind of sitting there, and who was really leading everything, right? Who was really leading everything? It was PP McGee, right? It was the JAG. It was the JAG. And the general did not do anything, say anything. He seemed like to be a puppet to PP McGee and the JAG, and we know that the JAG was behind a lot of obstruction. In this case, we know it's the JAG, right? We weren't even allowed, we weren't allowed to get access to our son's bills to pay off his bill or to shut down a bill or whatever, which is unheard of. It's just unheard of, right? And it makes sense when what is Rosa Maria's Valdez Garcia's family member doing with Richard's credit cards, right? And the problem that we had when we wanted to shut them off and pay them or whatever, um, it just explains so much of all of that. The lack of access, the lack of being able to do what's right, and them blocking us, and of course the whole thing of obstruction of justice and tampering with files and everything like that, which is, you cannot really ever truly delete things, okay? The NSA is there, right? The NSA is there. Uh, and of course, you have Doge, you have Elon Musk buying Twitter. What he did when he bought Twitter and called it X, he bought information, right? He bought top secret information because people were communicating on that platform, and that platform, he has access to that communication. So this is, I think, how the one of the first targets here, and I hate to call it a target, this is justice, right? You don't want your politician um, taking bribes and making deals with the Sinaloa cartel and having open borders and bringing in a criminal economy, right? You don't want a criminal economy because a criminal economy is not transparent. You can't ask for open records. Hey, cartel leader, can I see your payroll? Can I see who you're paying? Can I see, who you're, whatever you're looking for. A criminal economy is not transparent, and then they are ruthless, and it's just a horrible way to live, to have a criminal cartel, and a few chosen, like you can be a lawyer and not even be a good lawyer, and it's just who you know or what favors you give, and all of a sudden you land a $200,000 job. And then it's like, oh, how did that happen? So you get unqualified people in in the system, and then so the quality of life goes way down because you have unqualified people even doing regular jobs, because they're controlling the economy around their criminal economy. And it's just a horrible, horrible way to live, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And so, uh, thanks be to God. Now we have some hope. And it looks like promises made, promises kept. I'm just, I'm astonished. I did not think it would go this quick. To see what has happened in Arizona, to call out, and of course that all needs to go through the system. Um, but to see the governor called out, and we knew that she was up to no good, um, because of the economy, right? The type of economy. Just like we know California is not doing good when they want to make it legal for people to use these drugs and everything. They're fueling the criminal economy, and so so the open borders that they're fueling, the drug use that they're fueling, the child trafficking that they're fueling, the sex cult kind of thinking that always winds up to be access to children to do them harm, the worst types of crimes against children, like Leilani Hart. Leilani Hart confessed to the worst types of crimes against children. And why hasn't the FBI arrested her? Because she confessed, she notarized it, she swore to it, she documented it, she filed it. And let's say it's a lie. Well, that's a crime too, to lie to the FBI. So no matter what, she needs to be arrested, right? So that's really clear. But going back to Danae, I think she made someone really angry. And I think that they are absolutely retaliating against her. They are absolutely retaliating against her. And, I've been nothing but for every bad thing she's done to us. We've been very kind to her, very kind. Have we been angry at her? Absolutely. But we've been very kind to her. Does she need to be arrested? Absolutely. Look at what she did. Look at what she did. It's horrific. It's cold-blooded. And to know about Richard's death and I guess she didn't expect us to be as kind um and worried about her. We were very worried about her, the way that they were treating her, and I have tons of videos to prove it. With me saying it back then, and these young people getting exploited and getting into these families, getting groomed to be con artists, right? Con artists and absolutely doing people harm. And she absolutely did us harm. She really injured us. And, but I think that they're trying, that it's turned on her now. And I think her confusion, I think that I feel that what we are being told has some merit to it, that she did confess, and eh, and the reason why is because it doesn't make sense the way FitFam El Paso covered her, how the news covered her, how David Condolara is absolutely turned on her, and the only way that they would give the likes of Danae Katzen such bad press, right? And put her on the 10 most wanted and everything is because of a probable, most likely that it's true that she confessed, and she might have recanted, right? She might have recanted it, but I think she told me that she uh, does that, right? That she does that. She told me that um, sh you know, and I don't wanna talk about her mental, but she does, so it's not, it's from very, very good information from her own mouth to me, that, she would, like, confess and then recant, okay? Maybe confess again, maybe she didn't recant, But they are very angry at her for whatever she did say. Very angry. That's very, very clear. So, yeah, so that, having the generals being fired, having all of this revelation going around with Danae, and she's absolutely connected to Richard's unit, so she's absolutely knows what happened to Richard. That's another thing that corroborates uh, what we're being told about the confession. And then her connection to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, who is probably absolutely angry about the Walmart mass shooting case being frozen and not going forward until probably 2030, right? If that, the delay is just incredible. And so we're addressing all of that, but she must be very, very frustrated because of her visa status, of her financial status, of what she was promised, of um, her participation in illegal activity. Yeah, there must be a lot of pressure, um, a lot of chaos going on, and I think Danae's being in the 10 most wanted is really the huge indication of that. So, with that going on, with the general's paid informant, maybe, yeah, maybe, yeah, and I think they're all trying to cover their tail end, right? They're trying because it's a group. It's a pretty, it seems like it's a big group, but it's not that big, right? Because you're talking about connections with Joe Spencer, right? You're talking about their connections with Joe Spencer. Joe Spencer is in big trouble. He just lost Jaime Esparza. Jaime Esparza was his shield, right? If you're looking for, protection, Jaime Esparza as the AUSA was his shield. And now, he is absolutely vulnerable for all the crimes that he has committed, and especially in the Walmart mass shooting, especially how he handled Patrick Crucius, right? And our audios that we shared, we've already documented, we already filed them with multiple agencies and refiling them because of this new administration. So, Joe Spencer is very vulnerable, and to be connected to Leilani Hart, to be connected to Danae Katzen, to be connected to Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, to be connected to Michael Mayella, to be connected with Patrick Crucius, and the Walmart mass shooting case, and all of this, whatever money that he got, the millions of dollars. And don't forget that Patrick Crucius had to fill out an application for federal funding. And that application is absolutely, 000 across and Pat C, signed at Pat C. And yeah, he's a patsy, all right. He is a patsy. I just thought about that. Oh my gosh, he signed it, Pat C. That's how he signed that application. And it says 000 all the way across when it is documented that he had a job, that he is from a well established family, that is, absolutely could pay for his defense, but they lied on there. They lied. And to have his family being in the courthouse, um, being married, his brother being married to Michael Mayella, the Judge Guadarrama's right hand man, director, manager of the courthouse of the very case that sent Patrick Crucius 7,000 years into the Alcatraz of the Rockies, which, he still hasn't gone there yet because of the state case. He's still in isolation in El Paso. But um, you know, the conflicts of interest are so big, and the fraud, so Doge coming in, that's a Doge issue. When you are fraudulent on your application, that creates a problem that the federal and state monies have to, especially federal money, has to be paid hundreds of well, really millions of dollars, millions of unnecessary dollars being spent. We don't have that kind of money. We're in debt. We're in debt, and it's really the um, uh, the criminal economy that has caused this, because the criminal economy needs a lot of money to prop up the media and bribe the media in order to make the politicians, the left, or they're on the right too, the politicians or whatever, to establish them, to allow this criminal economy to flourish. And it costs a lot of money, of taxpayers' money. It's such an exploitation of taxpayers' money to prop up this facade, right, that allows them to make their tax-free billions. It's so cruel, and it's so heartless, and it's so selfish. So this is what we've been, that's why Bob Moore is so disgraceful, right? And he's a 501c3, and he's putting out fake news, right? Fake news. He's a fake news disgraceful, um, the low life, right? He's a low life. Um, and now we have, others, and it's big. It's so big, y'all. So, we just want to make sure that we give you the proper news. And, it takes a very strong person. It takes a humble person to know that you need to pivot, right? That you need to pivot. And when you do that, more and more is revealed. And that's what's happened in the last couple of days. So it's just amazing what is happening with this new administration. We really appreciate you staying with us, and I know sometimes I can be a little bit confusing because I'm not at liberty to say everything to you, but absolutely, this is the last chance for people to come clean. And, like David Poche should absolutely come clean. He has everything to lose. He has everything to lose in this. Uh, and what he did is just outrageous. So, and I know I don't say that name so much, but he knows who he is. And I hope you share this so that he gets that message. And I think that Danae Katzen needs to be one-sided, and that's on the right side. Get on the right side and confess the facts. I know it's hard when you've been groomed all your life to be a con person and want to flip-flop, right? And manipulate things. But you need to say the truth. That's the side that you need to be on. And I think like Belen Rocha needs to do that. I think so many people need to do that in this case, because this is really the last chance to. I think they're going to be penalized for what they've done, but I think that there is. Well, what do you have to lose? You need to do the right thing. You need to do the right thing. So thank you so much, everybody. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing.